Hey guys, and welcome back to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. Now, I apologize that I can't make a more fleshed out video that is, in my my full-on setup with all the lights and everything like that. I have just been incredibly busy the last week. I have other things going on and everything, so I thank you so much for sticking with everything. I know that I was gonna make a lot more for the Super Bowl and make multiple videos on it, and it got away from me. I've been working so much the last week, so I'm sorry about that. But I do want to make a quick predictions video about the Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl 57. It'll be in Arizona on Sunday. So if you're watching this either tonight on Friday or Saturday, let me know in the comments if you agree with what I have to say about my predictions. But first of all, a quick, how did we get here for both teams? So the Chiefs had a little bit more of I don't really want to even say they had a rough path. I'm just going to say they had a less of an easy path than the Eagles, especially in the playoffs. But the Chiefs were able to kind of float by in the AFC standings. You could argue they got a little bit of help in terms of getting that #1 seed because that one game with the Bills and the Bengals got canceled, and they were able to reap the benefits of that. But the Bengals beat the Bills, and it set up for an AFC championship, and it was a really tough battle. Patrick Mahomes was able to play through a leg injury, and that was a huge thing. It was a sprained ankle, and that was a big story. In fact, it was a story that both Collinsworth and Romo, when they both called games with Mahomes in it, they could not stop talking about it, which is the one thing I'm not looking forward to. Well, there's multiple things I'm not looking forward to in the Super Bowl, but that's the main one, is because as good as Mahomes is, no one wants to hear a player being talked about that much. It's the same thing as Brady. Like Mahomes is a whole other level of talented, and I will say that he is an incredible player. He deserved the MVP. What he was able to do against the Bengals on a kind of messed up ankle and everything like that was incredible. He is the best player in the NFL right now, and it's not going to change for a long time. And the same thing with Brady. He was the greatest of all time, greatest quarterback of all time, and still is. But we still don't want to talk about him that much. But anyway, yeah, the Chiefs were able to use a little more of they had kind of a scapegoat, or the opposite of a scapegoat, in Tyreek Hill, where everyone saw him leave and was like, okay, Tyreek Hill was their, secret weapon. And with the Chiefs, they have such a good offensive scheme and such a good quarterback in Mahomes that you don't really need to have, because Mahomes is their secret weapon. You don't need to have one guy that is in that offense that is going to have to command everything, which is crazy because Kelce still does that. I think that the Chiefs would still be in a great position even if Kelce wasn't as dominant as he is, and him being as dominant as he is puts them one step ahead in the competition and makes them a Super Bowl caliber team, regardless of how good their defense is, regardless of how good their running game is, all season long. So that's a big reason why they were able to make it. Pacheco, their running back, was a big factor. His speed has been incredible this season. He's been kind of a sneaky factor for why they are as successful as they are, and the reason why they were able to win their games in the postseason. So those are going to be very important matchups for the Eagles secondary to try and take down Kelce, to try and minimize his production, and just to keep an eye out for Pacheco. So the Chiefs were really able to really be not carried by Mahomes, but Mahomes was able to lead them the way he has the last few years, and that's about the long and short of it. On the Eagles side, this Eagles team is easily the most all-around, well-balanced and fully complete team in the entire NFL. The one thing that they tried to fortify, they totally did in the trade deadline, and they got Ndamukong Suh in the trenches. They also got Linval Joseph somehow on that same team. This team is the definition of stacked. This team feels like this year's Rams team of last year, where they put all the pieces together along, a group of young talent and veterans combined together for a perfect pairing. This whole team is incredible. Their cornerbacks, it's crazy that I feel like their cornerbacks and their deep secondary are honestly kind of the weak spot of the team, and they're still, dare I say, top 10. It's crazy. Their defensive line is best in the NFL. Maybe the 49ers were close, but the Eagles are definitely on top. And then we've got an absolutely potent attack with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown heading up the wide receiver crew, and obviously Jalen Hurts. You know, we had the MVP and the runner-up for the MVP that are both playing in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts easily could have gotten the MVP, and I don't think people could have been that mad at it if it had gone the other way. I think Mahomes deserved it, but easily could have been Jalen Hurts. And this scheme, once again, works out so well where they don't need an elite running back, and Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell are both good running backs, but they don't need elite running back play. They can rely on just incredible offensive line. It's hard to say what is the biggest strength of this team. It's just how good they are, because the defensive line is incredible, but the offensive line is phenomenal. I mean, this is an offensive line that can make so many quarterbacks look like an incredible quarterback, even if they weren't. And then you throw in Jalen Hurts, who is a great quarterback, and it brings him to an elite status. And that's just what you want out of an offensive line, is to be able to just elevate everyone around them. And Jalen Hurts has all the time he needs to find two wide receivers that really don't need a lot of time. And it's just unfair, the way this team was built this season. And the way I'm kind of talking up the Eagles will kind of foreshadow what my prediction is, which is I do predict the Eagles to win this game. And this is a game where it's like, there's reasons I don't like the Chiefs and don't want them to win, and there's reasons why I don't like the Eagles to win. The Eagles being, I hate their fans. There's so much about them that I dislike. They're the least classy fans in the entire NFL. They don't deserve a Super Bowl win, but there's plenty of players on the Eagles I think deserve wins. Jason Kelce is the most deserving guy to win a second Super Bowl that I've ever seen. Jalen Hurts, it would be nice to see him get one. I don't have any problems with really anyone on this team. It's just the fans I don't like. And then on the Chiefs side, I don't know. They already kind of feel like they have that Patriots swagger where, I don't know, it's just, there's something about them, and it's almost difficult to put into words what it is. Along with the fact that, you know, you've got those bandwagon fans. Chiefs fans have been loyal for decades, which sucks because, you know, there's these fans now coming in that are just automatically fans of the Chiefs, and it gives the Chiefs a bad rep because these fans that have been loyal their entire lives are now being phased out of the media by these, you know, fans that just jump on the bandwagon, a lot like the Warriors these last few years. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just get all of that out of my head. I'm going to try and just enjoy the Super Bowl and just see it as these are two really good teams duking it out, and whoever wins, wins, and I just want to see a good football game. And I'm going to try not to think about, you know, what the negatives are of either team winning or losing. I'm just not going to worry about it. I would rather see two teams I don't really like in the Super Bowl than a team I like and a team I don't like and it's a blowout. I just want a good game. And it's the two best teams that have been, you know, they've been the best teams in the entire league all season long. So it should be a good game. It should be fun to watch. And I hope all of you enjoy watching it as well, with whoever it is you're watching with. Even if you're watching by yourself, it should be a great game. So enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and I will break down, I'll do a raw reaction first of all to it that Sunday night. I'll kind of go over the entire NFL season. Eventually I'll do a quick breakdown of every single team, what they need to do next year to try and win the Super Bowl. And I'm even going to make an early prediction for next year's Super Bowl in that video as well. So a lot of fun stuff coming. I'll be a lot less busy in the coming weeks, hopefully. So I apologize for that. I also have some stuff that is backlogged. I have Brian Flores being signed as the new defensive coordinator for the Vikings that I have to break down. I can do that in the off season because that's not really changing a whole lot. but also a lot of stuff with the Vikings this offseason. A lot of takes for who I think we should get rid of in free agency, who I think we should try and sign, what I think we should do in the draft, and all that. That's all coming after the Super Bowl and in late February, as we get into the dark period where not a lot of football is being played, and we have to wait for next season. But all that's ahead. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you on the flip side.